What's the dumbest thing you've ever done in that groggy, half asleep half awake state? Go woke up at 3 AM by hotel fire alarm. I'm not sure why, but I carried the ironing board out to the hall with me. Not clear what my goal was. My brother wanted to get breakfast, so I told him I'd go to the bathroom real quick and then we could go. About 10 minutes into my shower, I realized I was just going to pee before we left. Brother was amused but hungry. I had a newborn and a toddler. Sleep was non-existent in our home. I somehow was asleep this night, sleeping more soundly than ever. An Amber Alert went off on my phone, loudly, at 4:30 AM. I thought that it was the Owlet baby monitor. Goes on their foot, makes sure they're breathing, and went busting into my peacefully sleeping newborn's room. In my confused stupor, I decided to yell "breathe baby" into my terrified newborn's face, still waiting to see if she's scarred for life from it. Around the time my daughter started crawling, I woke up in the middle of the night, hearing noise coming from the bathroom. Somehow my first thought was that the little one had crawled in there and was about to fall face first into a toilet and drown. I heroically dashed to the bathroom and busted the door open on my very surprised wife in mid-pee colon. Tried to open my front door with my car key after a 12-hour drive home. I don't mean trying to put the key in the lock. I was pressing the button and wondering why the door wouldn't open. I tried unlocking the doorbell when I got home from work once. I once woke up, looked at the clock and thought, crap, I am late for work. The alarm didn't go off. I jumped into the shower and was showering as fast as I could when I glanced out the window, and it was dark out. It took me a while to process. I had fallen asleep in my bed after work, and it was now 7 PM, and not 7 AM the next day. This happens to me regularly. You'd think I'd learn. My dad lives 2,000 miles away from me, but for some reason I thought I was at his house when I woke up and I heard him talking, so I started trying to have a conversation with him. Then I realized I was on my own couch. I used to wake up and hear and have complete conversations with my girlfriend who wasn't there if I woke up at like 4 AM then went right back to sleep, lol. Whoa, everyone here's done some extreme crap. When I was 13 I told my mom to shut the frick up when she woke me up. We weren't one of those families where the kids tell their parents to frick off. It didn't end well for me. TBH, that's the most extreme crap here. Shaved off my eyebrows. About 4 years ago at this point, I woke up as normal, showered, and started to shave. About halfway through, I stop and think to myself, something's wrong here. The frick did I do? At this point, I noticed that my left eyebrow and half of my right one are gone. I don't know how, I don't know why, but mostly asleep me decided that my eyebrows needed to go. I looked freaky as frick for a month and a half. Should have dyed your hair golden blonde and say you're Super Saiyan 3. Once I poured myself a bowl of cereal and put it back in the cupboard. I sat down in the living room. 10 minutes later, I got up to make myself some toast because I was hungry. My mom found the cereal later that afternoon. She was not happy. I apparently put a half-full bag of chicken and cheese tortellini in the pantry instead of the fridge. The sadness I felt upon seeing it. No words. I got up to use the bathroom. As a guy you just have to slip out and do your thing. Not sure what my thought process was, but in order to get lil me out I decided the easiest way was to take off my boxers completely. Then for some reason I put them in the toilet. I then did my business and went to put them back on. Once the soaked boxers touched my ankle I immediately woke up. I had never been so disappointed in myself. What the frick, this is hilarious. As a kid, I apparently woke up, went into my kitchen at around 1 AM, and pee into our oven. Heck yay. When I was about 12 I used to have a cat that would sleep on my pillow. He was enormous and took most of the pillow. I woke up and thought my pillow was actually one of my school notebooks and my cat was the pillow. So I got up and put my pillow on my desk and fixed the cat before putting my head on top of it. I woke up when he meowed when I laid my head on him. Freshly married, and my wife's cat would sometimes nestle on top of her head while we were in bed, sleeping. I came half awake once, yelled, "Cat," and swatted it to clear my new wife's head for her. Except, no cat the time. All I did was slap the bejesus out of my sleeping wife's head. I had to change my clothes, took off the clothes I was wearing, then proceeded to wear them again. A few times, I've almost thrown my phone into the dustbin and kept what I had been meaning to throw on my table. I once forgot how to put a shirt on. I was 13 and in the pay locker rooms surrounded by friends. I almost started crying after a minute of frustration because for the life of me I couldn't remember how clothing worked. I woke up at 12:30 am, walked into the bathroom and took a shower. My dad knocked on the door all concerned, "Are you okay?" I responded with, "I am just getting ready for school. It's 12:30 am. Oh, I'm going back to sleep then. That's all I have, I think." I was super ecstatic to go back to sleep as I was super tired. The feeling of being granted another few hours of blessed sleep when feeling bleary tired is amazing. Good enough that I actually still, almost 15 years later, set my first alarm to about 1-2 hours before I need to get up, just so I can have that feeling of, oh thank God I don't have to actually get up yet. Accused my then boyfriend of unplugging the toilet from the computer and started screaming because I couldn't use the bathroom anymore because it was unplugged and wouldn't work. Then proceed to go straight back to sleep. A buddy of mine started freaking out one time because the power went out at his apartment and he couldn't fathom that a toilet didn't need power to flush. I woke up, kinda, and went to rub my eyes but for some reason just ended up shoving my thumb in my eyeball and my nail cut my eyeball. It was fabulous. Woke up around 3 am, decided I needed to put my earring back in right at that moment. Reached blindly for my nightstand to grab it and start trying to put it in my ear, but it wouldn't go in and so I kept pushing harder thinking the hole had closed. Took me a solid 30 seconds to realize I was holding a large nail I had pulled out of my wall the day before. At least you got to skip the whole long gauging process. When I was 13 I had a few episodes of sleepwalking. One night I went to the fridge to get some milk. I opened the fridge door, grabbed the milk and poured it out into the dream glass in my hand. Dream glasses are a wee bit porous so I wound up spilling it all over the floor. I woke up to my mum shouting, "What are you doing?" I was startled, immediately became aware of my freezing cold wet feet, and dropped the carton. Dang guys, I was gonna say I microwaved a cup of noodles, ramen, without water. The styrofoam melted and set off the fire alarm, but clearly I have to step up my sleepy game. Woke up to my current husband saying, put some ketchup on that bee and call it a hot dog." Laughed so hard I woke him up. This is beautiful. I just needed to let you know that. Part of the Pee on Things Club. Done the downstairs TV a couple of times, but my worst best was when I was late teens, 17 or 18ish. Early hours of the morning my mom hears screaming coming from the bedroom so she comes running in to see what is going on. As she opened the door I was stood, dong in hand, pee all over my brother and his bed. We shared a bedroom at the time, both with single beds in diagonally opposing corners. He was 11 or 12. She starts yelling to stop me but my mom's shouting would not deter me and my stream continued. She resorted to hitting me to snap me out if it. I stopped mid-flow and turned 90 degrees to face her, still holding my super soaker, paused, and then said, "Do you not think you are being a little freaking unreasonable?" Returned to my previous position and finished showering my brother's bed, then went and climbed back into my own bed and left them to deal with what had just happened. I woke up in the morning, saw my brother's bed had been stripped and assumed he had wet himself or was sick. Went downstairs to be met with incredible awkwardness. Asked what was wrong and had the events of the night explained to me. I have absolutely no recollection of anything between going to bed and waking up that night. Woke up, heard people breathing so I start freaking the frick out. There is definitely someone standing above my bed I thought. A minute of pure terror ensues. Then I realize I'm not home and crammed in a room with 3 other people and the relief was almost orgasmic. I woke up confused last night and felt like my girlfriend was too close to me, so I braced myself between the wall and my girlfriend and shoved her off the bed with my feet. I thought my phone was a giant bug and threw it on the floor in a state of panic. Probably should have had my glasses on. Thank God I'm not the only one who sees irrational freaky things when drowsy without my glasses. My dad told me to brush my teeth and apparently I walked into the kitchen, grabbed the dish scrubbing brush out of the sink, and started scrubbing my forehead with it. I remember waking up once to the alarm on my cell phone thinking, oh, that's cool. The phones they make now can make noise when you need to wake up. Must be a new thing. I didn't think about it again until later in the day and laughed at myself. Overslept. Got up quickly. Didn't realize both my legs were dead and slammed into the floor face first. Could get up again until the blood had returned and I'd stopped laughing. My friend broke his leg that way. Woke up late one day. Roommate had made coffee earlier in the day, but it was now cold. I filled my metal coffee mug up and put it in the microwave to reheat the coffee. Took me about 10 seconds before I realized why that was a bad idea. It was after my daughter was born. I was in that new parent sleep deprived state where you're not fully functioning, but you still need to take care of this little person you just made. She was crying and hungry, so I went to the kitchen to make her a bottle, poured the milk in, screwed on the top. Only, I forgot to add the nipple, so I walk back to her to feed her, and end up pouring milk all over my newborn baby's face. She starts screaming. I start crying. My husband runs out of the bedroom to find the baby soaked in milk and the both of us in tears. Fun times. Or about a month ago my mom went into my room before leaving for work, when I was still half asleep, and woke me up to say goodbye. According to her, I said 2 words in a language she never heard before. She asked me what I said and I repeated them. I remember nothing of this. My best friend's mom went to wake her up one day. Hey, it's time to get up. Bestie yells back, I'm making brownies she had been dreaming she was baking. 3 weeks ago, I shook my GF really hard saying I may wake up. She asked me what was going on. The only thing I could answer was I don't know. She was pee. I heard my husband whine or groan or something in the middle of the night and tried to shove a boob in his mouth. I was nursing our first and it was just reflex. I bet your husband appreciated that. Last night I reached into the fridge after a long day of work, grabbed the wrong dark bottle, and poured myself a wine glass of Baileys to drink. Frick, that was awful. I went out shopping at the end of the work day after not sleeping at night, got home, put everything in the fridge, including the new mouse I had bought for my laptop, and went to bed. I have also woken up in the middle of the night, opened up the fridge and used a bottle from there to wash my hands because reasons. Sleepy me is not a smart lady. D. Oh, thank God it was a computer mouse. Very early one morning, before coffee, I started to back the car out of the garage without having first raised the garage door. Fortunately, I caught sight of the door in my rearview mirror just before impact. When I was a child once I walked downstairs, opened the door to living room and stood there staring at my parents for a while. They tried to ask me what's wrong but I didn't respond. Then I closed the door, walked back up, and when my mom came after me to check what the heck I was doing, I was asleep. I can't remember any of that. A few months ago, my aunt woke up in the middle of the night and accidentally used super glue instead of eye drops. She said it hardened on her eye right away and was easy to get out, but her eyelashes had to be cut by the doctor. I feel bad, but can't help but laugh. This is actually one of the weirdest things that has ever happened to me. A few years ago I somewhat woke up in the middle of the night and got freaked out thinking something was in my room. I actually woke up thinking this several times at this house. I then proceeded to jump out of bed, knock my box fan off the bookshelf I had it on, and jump up onto the bookshelf. Now this bookshelf is tall enough to where I couldn't have just jumped on top. I had to boost myself up, mind you. I ended up fully waking up on top of the bookshelf in a full panic, still thinking something was on my floor. I finally settled myself down and fully realized that I was on my bookshelf. I then realized my fan was on the floor and had fallen on my hard plastic cup with plastic straw and shredded the straw completely, so there was broken plastic all over my floor. I also managed to knock my TV over. It was hanging in the air due to the cord not being long enough for it to fully drop, but it scrapped up against the wall and still has the white paint on it to this day. After going back to sleep and waking up, I tried to figure out how I got on the bookshelf by trying to use my foot on one of the shelves to boost myself, and even the slightest amount of weight on the shelf caused it to lift up and dump everything off of it. So I still have no idea how I got up there. I've woken up the same way before, except instead of climbing a boom shelf, I sprinted out of my dorm room and slammed the door behind me, locking myself out. I had to spend the rest of the night on the common room couch. I had dreamed that we didn't have milk at home, so I woke up my husband and told him to make only 1 cup of coffee because I don't like it black. Well, 2 things really. First thing, when I was about 6 or 7, I apparently sleepwalked out of my room, down the hallway, down the large L stairway, down another hallway, into our kitchen, opened the fridge and pulled my pants down. Luckily, my parents were both up drinking coffee in the dining room, and were able to stop me and led me to the bathroom. I remember waking up along the way. Second one happened yesterday. I am 24. I went to bed early, 9 AM. I work 3 RDS, and had a box of Cheez-Its next to my bed. At about 1 PM, I woke up, eating the Cheez-Its. I had gone through half the box at that point. I woke up groggy, and was like the heck? I woke up after having slept on my arm all night, so it was completely numb. I lifted it to try and get the blood moving again and wake it up, but it gave way and smacked me right on the nose, giving me a bloody nose. I had to physically use my right arm to move my left arm left side of my body so I could flip over once. For some reason I was sleeping upside down in my bed. My head was where my feet would go, vice versa, and I was having a dream about Lord of the Rings. My alarm went off, and in my dreams there were goblin war drums. My dad walks in and yells at me for not waking up. I apologize and go about my day. At least I wish that was what happened. Instead, my dad yells at me, to which I'll look him dead in the eye and say, "Don't worry, it's just the goblins." He was very confused. Woke up in the middle of the night to pee and realized I had left my curling iron on from the night before. I pick it up with one hand and grab the plug in another and pulled both hands back towards me at the same time. The hand holding the curling iron went towards my face and I burnt my lips pretty bad on the hot iron. One time when we were at a hotel in San Antonio, I woke up from sleeping and went to the coffee maker and started to undo my pants to take a pee. Luckily, my dad was completely awake and redirected me to the actual restroom. I put my phone in the fridge. Couldn't find it for 3 days. It was kind of freeing, to be honest, but I did have to write directions down on a piece of paper. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.